Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to my spaceship. I know I don't typically do videos like this, but we will start to do more videos like this soon. This is gonna make it a lot easier for me to explain higher level concepts with visuals and everything. So, let's get into it. I got this quick little clip I want to show y'all.
Back in the game.
I broke it.
Aren't you in there? Hey!
Okay, so for those that may know, are familiar with Marvel movies, that object that he was actually reaching in to grab is the Tesseract, what they call the Tesseract. And this object is going to be the center of discussion for us for today's video, because we are going to dive into the third, fourth, and fifth dimension. But as a series, but specifically today, we're going to tap into the fourth dimension and kind of lay out a framework for people to understand a little bit more vividly what it is and how to navigate it. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to try to keep it short, but I do need to try to cover as much as I can. I might split this up into two parts, but I hope y'all like this way of like videos, making videos. Okay, let's go. Let's get into it. So, as y'all have seen on my videos before, the third, fourth, and fifth, I'll give y'all a quick little recap. I'm not going to go too deep. If y'all want to know more, just check out some other videos. But third, obviously, being here, right? The reality, the world of the ego trip, so to speak. In a sense, reality, right? The finite world here, right? And then you have the fourth dimension, which isn't talked about too much, but you hear about a few little things like what objects look like in 4D, and the fourth dimension is time and so forth. And then you get the fifth dimension, right? And this is something that more spiritual people talk about and everything, but it's still not fully understood, right? And a lot of people may look at dimensions like, okay, it's hoopla, whatever. And other people might look at dimensions like, oh, okay, they're different layers of reality, and and so forth. And I'm here to just kind of lay out more of the roadmap for y'all. So I hope by the end of this video, you have a whole paradigm shift of your understanding of these dimensions and how you're already multidimensional, how you're already experiencing these dimensions right now. Because a lot of what I'm saying is unprecedented, but it's something that we all experience every single day. So let's get into it. I'm kind of excited for this video. Let me not preface much more, but yeah, that's a small introduction of the third, fourth, and fifth. I can get into it much further than that, and hopefully this video will help too. By the time you finish watching this, you'll get a more solid understanding. So let's get into it. Fourth dimension, right? I'm going to kind of use this video by this guy right here, Carlo, so y'all can see Farias. Y'all check out his video. I'm gonna give him a like. Got him up on here. I haven't watched this whole video, but it seems like I'm gonna skip through a few little parts that he's talking about.
And we now have
Just
two
so you
points
understand.
connected by a line and bounded by length. For the second dimension, we're getting an assist from Professor Frink.
Here is an ordinary square. Whoa, slow down, egghead.
So we double the 0D points again, and we have the second dimension. Now we have a square bounded by length and height. Notice
So we understand this, right? Most people understand second dimension, right? Let's get into third.
Height
Third dimension, cool, boom.
form a new shape. 2D, we have four 1D lines. It would appear to someone, object, dimensional world. Imagine the red cube is a real 3D object. The red dot flying around is a light source. Now you can visualize how the shadow of the 3D object would appear on a 2D plane. The next example is even better and inspired by the 1884 book Flatland by Edwin Ab.
I'm not going to get too deep into the geometry of it, but what he's saying is correct. These are like the planes and how they exist from different slices and different perspectives and different angles, and how the light casting a shadow in one direction is going to look different than how it casts in another direction. But essentially, this is what, if you follow those same laws, you eventually end up with
I'll link to it in the
tesseract.
description for those eggheads out there. I find
Wh-
it helpful to see the progression.
which is this object, and like what he said, the progression helps a
on a
lot.
different
Like
axis, we get parallelograms and rectangles.
2,
We
3,
revolve a main cube with corresponding
4,
stop
right?
at 3 cube in
So
perspective.
so essentially, here's where we are with this. A lot of science, as far as what's publicly out there, it kind of leaves you right here. Okay, we can calculate what a shape would look like in the fourth dimension, and for the most part, we can kind of theorize and have ideas about how it would behave otherwise, right? But they essentially have calculated the visuals of it. I'm here to lay down the groundwork of connecting that to what is actually going on. Just like how in the third dimension, right? He has this cube, and what we exist in is the third dimension, right? But on a very simplified form, the cube is a representation of that, right? However, what we are in is a multitude of three-dimensional objects, right? So y'all understand what I'm saying, right? The same thing with the fourth dimension. Just because you have a tesseract doesn't mean that's all there is to the fourth dimension. It is saying that is a little pixel of the fourth dimension. That is the structure of it, right? So at a simple form. So I'm here to connect the dots for y'all and lay this out. So let's get into it. Let's play some little music in the background. Let's get into it. All right, so we're about 6 minutes in, and time to get to the juicy part a little bit more. And I'll try to keep this streamlined and everything. That was the introduction. For those that may know already, I'll try to put a timestamp in here so y'all can catch up to this point. But let's get into it. So, all right, there's a lot of points to start from, or a lot of points to cover. So I'll try to start. Y'all just rock with me, bear with me too. I'm trying to do this live in real time, so I don't have to edit too much, and I want to save your time. So, but this is like I mentioned before, unprecedented understanding and knowledge, so it's timeless. You know what I mean? So don't really need to put a time limit on it, but for the most part, I also like to listen to things that move quickly. So let's get into it. Here we have it, the tesseract, the fourth dimensional object. Now that we have a clear understanding of what this object is, let me explain it for y'all and as to how we are experiencing this right now. So the third dimension, it's a reality that's very set in stone, so to speak, right? Like things that are physical, there's certain properties to it. I cannot pass my finger through this phone or through this object, right? Like things are solid, right? If you wake up, if you go to sleep and wake up, if nothing else happens to your environment, it's going to stay the same, right? That's a third dimensional reality, right? That's a property of the third dimension. The fourth dimension is what you see here. It is temporal. It is the opposite of that. No thing stays the same. Everything changes. It's constantly changing, constantly moving, constantly shifting, constantly, just like a dream, right? It is constantly shifting, right? A dream is kind of like watery, right? You can't really grasp onto one thing, and the longer you try to hold on to one frequency, it starts to slip through your hands like sand or like water, right? In the third dimension, we don't have to deal with that. But these two dimensions, one's the fourth and one's the third, right? So what's real, the temporal or the finite? So here's where the cool stuff happens. So this is the linchpin right here. Your body right here exists in the third dimension. Your physical vessel is in the third. Now, people say that time is the fourth dimension, and I highly disagree. Time is everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, what dimension you are, just like numbers, time is there if you so choose to measure it. So I think, although, yeah, saying that time is a fourth dimension could be part of it, but it's not. The fourth dimension is your mind. Boom, there you have it, right? That's yeah. Boom, the fourth dimension is your mind. It is the place that is temporal, and you have access to everything. And it transcends time. I will say that it transcends time, because with your mind, you can go to your past events, you can go to future events, you can go to everything that you've experienced and things that you haven't experienced before, right? Using your mind, right? Your mind allows your imagination can go to there, and it can go back to thinking about this phone. It can go to looking at my hand, to thinking about, oh, what it would be like to be a beautician, or all these different things, right? Your mind can literally jump from one thing to another. It is temporal, but it also is its power, right? It can go to any place at any time, right? But it is not one thing. That is not what reality is, right? Reality is one thing, like here, right? Like if somebody chops off your hand, that's your hand, it's gone, right? In your mind, you can imagine what it would be like without your hand, but at the end of the day, it's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that might be a bad analogy, but you understand what I'm saying. It's a temporal thing. And this right here, the tesseract, is your mind. This shape right here, this form, the way that it is behaving is the way that your mind behaves. And the more that you understand and study what a tesseract is and how it moves, the more you can understand how your mind moves, right? This sense of progression, but it's also not going anywhere in a sense, right? It is moving from within itself and out all of itself, right? And there is this sense of moving forward, but it is also not necessarily moving forward. It is in space, right? But moving forward is its nature, right? It is how it is progressing. It is growing, just like your mind, right? You have a train of thought. You are going in a direction. This would be your train of thought. This is how your mind is going in a certain direction, and it's constantly creating its next experience that it's experiencing, right? Just like it would be as if you were the dreamer in the dream itself. So the dreamer is creating the dream, but also experiencing it. Like if you panic in a dream and you're having a peaceful dream and you just start panicking out of nowhere, your dream starts to get really dark really quick. And if you're in a very scary dream and you relax and you're just like, you kind of like look at it like it's not, you detach from the emotional aspect of it, your dream will start to lighten up and start to ease up a little bit. It might get a little silly or goofy. But that is how your mind works. Your mind is constantly creating its own experiences. So there's a lot of things that are put in place to try to redirect your mind or send your mind in different directions, or distract you, or take you off your train of thought, or leave you with with a low attention span. And there are also mental issues that people have because they don't know how to understand the way their mind behaves. They don't understand that it is an actual tool. Some people don't even think about them having a mind. They just see it as like, oh, I have a brain. But there's a function to it. There's an actual rhythm to it. There's laws to it. Just like there's laws to how your body works, right? The closer an appendage is to your core, the more range of motion it has. The further you get out, each time it bends, you get less and less range of motion, right? But that's just like how your body works. And there's certain things that you have to learn. Same thing with your mind. Your mind, the mental plane, the fourth dimension right here, all this black right here, this is like your space. This is like your mental space, right? When you close your eyes and you go into your head and it's all dark and black, that's what this represents. And the consciousness, the light that is your mind, that is your soul, that is your awareness, is like this tesseract. It's constantly moving and it doesn't stop moving. And people have to understand how to mental health. And mental health comes from exercising your mind, right? But exercising your mind isn't the same way as exercising your body. Exercising your mind has to deal with the flow, right? The tesseract, right? No one point stays at one point the entire time. But a lot of people in their egos, because humans are very arrogant, will try to control the temporal space. When it's temporal, like you're supposed to embrace and release, embrace, release, embrace, release. But some people have a hard time releasing and letting things go, and some people have a hard time embracing things, and some people focus on the wrong things, and some people hyper focus too much on the right things. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many ways to use this, but it is a tool. It is a tool. It is one of the most amazing tools that we have. Mind over matter. The fourth dimension is over the third dimension. That is why your mind is at the top of your body. Your mind is over your body, right? The temporal space is crafting and creating and manifesting all of your experience, right? In your mind, it is happening in real time. This is how you kind of train your dragon. This is how you kind of train how you navigate your own temporal space or your own domain. If we're talking about like was it Jujutsu Kaisen or Naruto or whatever, like a domain expansion kind of vibe, you know what I mean? So like you're creating your own domain. The domain would be like the outer box, right? Your inner box is your will, right? So you have to get in balance, get your mind in tune and get it in balance at first, because if not, your mind will be going in direction to direction. You won't even know that you're using your mind. It won't even have a leash on it, you know what I'm saying? You won't have it trained. You'll be using your mind against yourself, because your mind is very, very powerful. You can spend it on anything. You can spend your attention on anything, and a lot of people redirect their attention upon themselves, and they become hypercritical, and they become or become hypercritical of other people, and all they're doing is using their own power against themselves, and they don't know it though. They're taking this whole amazing power that is this artifact, that is this tesseract, that is this glowing cube, and they're just using that energy to beam it on themselves, because they're too self-focused, but in a negative manner. And what we have to do is learn how to redirect, and it's okay. It's a temporal thing. It can always change. You can change everything. You can for the better. And so what you can do is you have to release and redirect the energy, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, if you don't even have the keys or the tools to unlock something or figure something out, then yeah, it's going to seem like the biggest task, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have a screwdriver, good luck, buddy, you know what I'm saying? But once you get a screwdriver, it's no big deal. So I'm trying to give you all a screwdriver for your mind, so you can kind of get under the hood and see, oh yeah, that's what's going on here. I am a multi-dimensional being. I'm here on the third, but I'm also here on the fourth. In the fourth, you have to align them too in order to move in the same direction and manifest, right? As you think, so shall you become, right? Like I said, mind over matter. Like, in what goes around comes around. Just like right here, right? It's the same laws, right? The same laws of like karma. You are what you eat, you know. Fake it till you make it, so to speak. If you can hold this frequency enough, then you will. Soon your environment will start to reflect that frequency you hold. But if that frequency is true, it'll withstand. If it is not, then it won't, you know. I'm just trying to go over a number of things all at the same time, so I can kind of give you all a more well-rounded understanding of these things and how they affect your everyday life, right? So a lot of times too, there's a lot of things to cover, bear with me. On the fourth dimension, some people can be they may not understand it. They may be too focused on the fourth dimension or too focused on the third, but you have to be balanced on both, right? You have to understand how to use your fourth dimensional mind of going into the future and laying out your plans and laying out how you want things to play out for you whenever you come to that point where you experience it, right? Or some people might be in the third dimension, and they might be too much in their feelings, and they might be too much in the moment and stuff, and they're not thinking about future plans, or they're not really processing things that are going on around them, so that they can, you know, plant good seeds for whenever that revolution comes back around. So we have to be balanced. We can't just be in our head all the time and just like imagine experiences. We actually have to be in space, like real space time, you know, in the third dimension here as well. So you don't miss the beat. So you can kind of be attuned with what's going on around you, as well as in tune with what's happening up here. But once you get them in sync, then it's like you can be both with people, right? You can find that rhythm with somebody, and y'all are both already in tandem. Y'all had never met before, but it's because you're also in tune on the fourth dimension. You're also in tune up here as well, where your tesseracts are flowing in a similar direction, or they're both creating a similar experience. You know what I mean? And you can also see how other people's minds work and stuff like that, where they're going and how they're going stuff. But it's all temporary. It's all temporary. And like I mentioned before, with the mental diseases and stuff like that, or health things, is that here's another thing. Like I mentioned about human arrogance, right? Humans, like with a skateboard, right? You can't just hop on a skateboard and expect to just do whatever trick you can think of. It doesn't work like that, right? And humans are so arrogant that they think, oh, I can hop on a skateboard and I can just do whatever trick and stuff. But you know it's not that easy now. You know, most people that understand skating know it's not that easy. You can't just do it like that, right? And some people get frustrated at the board, like, oh man, I know I did this trick right, but this board sucks. And it's like, no. It's not the board, it's you. The board is just an inanimate object that's there to be a reflection of you, you know what I'm saying? but you have to understand its laws. You have to understand how a skateboard works in order for you to do the tricks, right? Same thing with your mind. You have to understand how your mind works in order for you to actually do tricks with your mind, Jedi mind tricks, right? Like moving somebody's tesseract into a whole different, thing, right? Just like fish. It's just like fish, like in this space, in this plane, right? They're just going in a direction. Anyways, let me stay on track here. So what I'm saying about the mental health thing and being arrogant, you have to understand the laws of it. And the laws of it is that there's almost no laws to it, except that there is change that is constant, right? And you have to be able to flow, but it's a roller coaster that doesn't stop. It's constantly going, it's constantly in motion, it's constantly creating, it's constantly planting seeds, it's constantly evolving and rapidly changing, manifesting, and so forth. And some people may want to get off that train and be like, oh, this is too much, like my brain is too much, it's doing too much, whatever. But you have to be able to release and embrace and allow time to play out. Time is just allowing one point to move from here to here. Yeah, we can call it time, but we're looking at something much bigger here. You know what I'm saying? So what was I gonna say mental health without the staying on tracks, embracing the flow. This is the flow state that we're talking about. Embracing the flow. You know what I'm saying? Not wanting to get off the train. You're constantly shifting. It's constantly being created and destroyed. Constantly. But I don't want to make this too long. We're already at 21 minutes. This is just mostly to give you an understanding of how your mind works. The structure of it. And how you have to get in control of your mind, because there's a lot of powers that be on the fourth dimension that don't want you to control your mind. They want to control your mind for you. Attention is valuable. Time is valuable. Money is valuable, obviously, but people get paid for views. You know what I'm saying? So it's about attention. It's about where people are directing the tesseracts. And if they can keep you off your course and going this way and that way, you don't even realize you have a tesseract. You don't even realize you have this artifact that is this supercomputer that's in your brain that's capable of focusing on any one thing, and to the point where it can dive into any situation and figure it out and uncover it and upgrade it or whatever it needs to do to solve the problem and get the job done. And also it has the ability to access anything, almost like the Matrix, right? You can go into any past experience and draw from it an emotional. We'll get into the emotions next time. I don't want to get too deep, but emotions are what attaches your physical self to the fourth dimensional self, right? It's what takes the things that you experience up here and it makes them, it brings them down to this denser third dimensional state. But we'll get into that later. But I guess what I'm saying is, even before we get into that, we'll talk about how you can use your tesseract to evoke certain emotions to help you here on the third, right? Just like in anime, when they have like a technique that they use that's like, a freaking water slicing light beam attack or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and every time they do it, they say the same thing because it's a technique that they're doing. And it's a certain thing, although it might just be a move, but if you look at it like a technique, then you could use it more often and you'll actually know how to, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a name. Once you name a technique, you can make things better, right? Like a hook shot or whatever. So we'll kind of get into that more later. But as far as just the nature of the fourth dimension and of your mind, also just having that understanding that although it is all temporary, you can access anything, but your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. Yes, you can multitask, but your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. It can be anything. That is the beauty of it, is that it can be anything, and you can make it as deep and as in-depth and as vivid as you want, as you can. You know what I mean? And that's the potential of it. But you also can only focus on one thing at a time. You can only make one dream at a time. Yes, you can experience multiple dreams, but that's the limitation of it, right? But we're doing the same thing here on the third. This same process like this is happening here on the third. It's just manifestation, but it happens slower on the third because it's a more denser reality and we're co-creating, right? But on the fourth dimension, it is you real time. And what we're doing is taking that third dimensional self and aligning it with our fourth dimensional self and aligning it with our third dimensional self to be able to bring our dreams to reality, to actualize it, right? So anyways, I love y'all, and I hope that helps a little bit. I hope y'all's minds are starting to understand, okay, when people make music that are hits and is playing over and over, or Michael Jackson, whatever, they live on within you in the fourth dimensions and the higher dimensions. Like they stay within us. It goes beyond just the physical here. It's here, and it's higher. But that's it for now. And yeah, y'all have a beautiful day. I hope y'all like this. If y'all do, hey, drop something in the comments. Let me know what you felt. Let me know if this helped to open up or clarify anything else for y'all. And yeah, just be mindful of your minds out there. Control your dragon, train your dragon. Learn how to direct your mind more. Learn how to utilize it, and understand that this is the nature of your mind. Don't get mad at the skateboard, or don't think that your mind's off. It just might move in a different direction. It may have a bit different style. But at least if you can have a visual framework of how it works, you'll start to understand it, and it will seem less chaotic, because you know, oh yeah, that is how it works. I am constantly thinking out, and my thoughts always leading me to the next one. So I'm always going within what I just created. You know what I mean? So, all right, that's it. Love y'all. Take care, and yeah, we'll drop another video soon.